Happy Inktober. So we are here. This is day 18 and I started working on this picture using ballpoint, and I was like, oh, I should ink this. And then the minute I was like, oh, it's Inktober, I haven't done any footage yet, so let's do this. Starting with the illustrious 512 nib. Actually, I know I love this one already. Let's try this one, which is the 101. We'll try the 101 today. I really like the 512 though, I'm gonna tell you that. And earlier I got some footage. I went to Blick. Okay, so I got some watercolor pens. Okay, so this is the mini haul. I have 4 watercolor pencils. I have brown, yellow, black, and red. And I got this Uni Posca paint pen. I saw a girl do a review on it on YouTube when she was saying about the best white marker pens. This one was really good. She had a Sharpie paint pen that was white, water-based instead of oil-based, and so that's the one I wanted to get, but they didn't have it at the Blick I went to, so I got this instead. I'll put a link to her video in the description so you can see it because it was really good. In total, it was $15.31, just in case you guys wanted to know. I don't know if this ink is waterproof. I'm just hoping that it is. This was something that was drawn earlier but sketched now. It was drawn earlier but it's going to be inked now. That's what I meant. So I'm dipping my 101 nib. You can tell it holds a lot of ink. It holds a decent amount of ink if you see. So I'm going to just go and do this eye right here. And I'm applying a fair amount of pressure. If you can tell, I put way too much ink on my pen, but I like it how you can have variations of very thick lines and very fine lines. I'm literally just picking up the excess ink and putting it there. So if you ever have excess ink lying around, don't just let it sit there, put it to use. And that's what I'm doing right here with this. And I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit. I'm gonna go and do the other eye. Just be careful though, because I did pick up some of the paper. That's what you want to avoid. But since it's on here, I might as well use it to thicken this. Okay, so there you have it. That is eye number 1. Now we're gonna do eye number 2. And I'm gonna go back and go over what I did in ballpoint with my nib. So that is that. That was just some eye practice. I'm gonna pour some water. I'm not too big of a fan of the 101 nib. I got back to my trusty 512. And I'm just gonna use that for the upper parts, but first I want to see if the watercolors work on these eyes, and if not, then luckily I ordered Deleter ink number 4, which is supposedly waterproof. No, this one says waterproof. It says waterproof for paper and film. So this has dried. I'll do a little. Okay, it has not dried. Oh my goodness, it has not dried at all. Maybe I can try something smaller and try that. I can make a small picture right here. Just in case, we will leave these 2 as is and we'll ink this one, and that'll be today's Inktober. Maybe I can leave it overnight to see if that works and then come back tomorrow. I want to give it a fair chance. And if I have my Deleter ink over here, we can compare and contrast. Okay, I literally just smudged my picture. I was thinking about this earlier, as in a whole 5-10 seconds earlier, how when you ink You're supposed to go into sections, and I did it out of order, and I was like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. And look, something happened. I literally smudged. So, moral of the story is that you don't go over, like it would have been made sense to do this whole side, then to work towards this whole side. That's wild. I was just thinking about that. Well, that's the saying, what you think about, you bring about. So next time, I won't think about smudging, and then I won't smudge. I think that's about it. That's actually not bad. Had I inked it in the right order, that would have been way better. So we're gonna go back to this down here, our sample. It is dry. So I'm gonna go with my Cretacolor Aqua Monolith. This is a watercolor stick, like it's a lead woodless pencil. That's what it's called. My watercolor brush, and dip it in the water, the same water I used for my ink because the water is not that dirty. Wipe off the excess. It's a little bit gray, but it's not that bad. And then now put water over it and see how it goes. It does swirl around, but the original color remains where you put it. This is the Faber-Castell watercolor pencil in Naples Yellow. This has a more even distribution of color, and you can't really tell where the original started. This is the Derwent Intense watercolor pencil in Willow 100. No, Willow 1900. It's a brown. Well, actually, let's stay consistent with the way I've been coloring. We're just gonna do a box. This one distributes color way better, but you can still see the pattern in the middle. Finally, the last color is just a regular Derwent watercolor. They had the Derwent Intense, which was the brown, and now we have the Derwent regular. And we're gonna just blend it out. And it seems as though the color black blends out pretty well. Posca Uniball pen. This is what it looks like, the tip, and I'm just gonna... Okay. It doesn't show, but let's see if it makes an impact. Okay, so it does kind of, but it did pick up on the ink. I'm gonna go back to one of my old Inktober pictures. It kind of shows up opaque. I mean, translucent. Like, for example, how many layers would it take for it to show as white as the paper on black? So it picked up some. I kind of held it there for a little bit. Let's see, this one was dark. Okay, this is what this looks like with some dots. I think the dotting works way better than the actual white lines. It's white, but it's not as white as I thought it was gonna be, especially when it dries. When it's applied, it's white, but then it dries lighter, which is why I wish that maybe I had, because you can see through it, right? You can see through it. Unless I did another layer over it, even with the dots in all their dotted glory, you can see through it. So let's do this. So we're gonna go with the Intense watercolor pencil. I'm gonna go in circular motion to make it very easy and light. Now we're gonna come in with the handy dandy water, tap off the excess, and then we're just gonna smoothen it out and smooth it out. One thing that I like about it is that it reduces the pen stroking lines. Well, I know when I was using Copics, you could tell where I had colored and where I didn't, and where I had colored extra, just by the sheer amount of lines. That was something I didn't like. I went a little bit outside the line, if you can tell, so I'm gonna try and test my Posca pen against this area. Oh. Water spreads, yes, but also spreads the paint of the pen. Let's do a little bit of red or lightish red on the shadow, and then we'll do the same over here, and then we will see how this goes. This is me messing around, but I hope to go back and actually go seriously through this. This bottom row is messing around. This is the row where we actually put in the work, and I'm excited to see how that goes.